Okay, we're moving into chapter 4 of the textbook, and we're going to be doing some Excel use of logicals. Logicals meaning what kind of number or indication do you put down inside a cell based on some kind of condition. And we'll be using a customer credit analysis as our conditions. So for example, if this customer here, the Athletic Gear Company, is a bad customer, we might say accept them or not accept them as a customer in this cell here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use true and false in the level 1 of the chapter, and then we're going to go into if statements in chapter 2. Okay, so there's two distinct themes. The first one is true and false, and the second one is if statements. So we're going to start off with the true-false system that Excel offers. I'm going to open up a new cell here, and the idea here is that I want to just show you how it all works. So first of all, if I was to put down an equals sign and then go 3 is greater than 5, and you know this, the sign here, greater than, is 5, and if I press enter, before I press enter, what do you think the answer is going to be? Is that going to be true or false? Well, obviously 3 is less than 5, so therefore it's not a true answer. So it's going to come back, if I press enter right now, here we go, it comes back as false. So it has resolved this equation after the equal sign and come back with a true or false. How about this one here? If I go equals 3 equals 3, and so I've asked the system to resolve something, so a formula, so I start off with an equal sign, and I said to the system, does 3 equal 3? And obviously we know that's true, so I'll press enter and see if that's the case. How about another one? If I go equals to indicate that a formula or some kind of process has to be started, I'm going to go, is 3 less than 5? Okay, what is the answer? Well, we know that 3 is definitely less than 5. It's a true statement. Okay, so these are what we call logicals in the Excel world, and logicals follow operators. All right, so or use operators to help understand if a system is if two elements are false, are true or false. So for example, if I write down the word operators here, operators are things like an equal sign, or this one here, that means that it's not equal to. Not equal to. Let me just get my typing done here. Not equal to. There we go. So if I was to go like this, if that, for an example, equals 3 not equal to 6, is that a true statement? And the answer is true. If I was to go equals 3 not equal to 3, what's the answer? False. Okay, because it is equal. All right, so that set of symbols there, those set of operators, means not equal to. Another set is obviously greater than. All right, so we know that one. Greater than. And the way you might remember this one is that the greater than symbol, the big end of the symbol means big, greater than, as opposed to the smaller end of the symbol starting first. All right, that means less than. All right, less than. Okay, so if the symbol starts off with a point in the left-hand side, that's small, meaning less, so less than. Opposite is greater than. The symbol starts on the left with a big opening, so it's greater than. And then they've got other ones like greater than or equal to. Okay, so that's greater than or equal to. Okay, so how about this as a test? Equals is 3 greater than or equal to 4? And the answer is false. All right, 3 is definitely not greater than or equal to 4, as opposed to is 3 less than or equal to 4? True. How about is 3 less than or equal to 3? True, because the equal sign kicks in that case. So a final operator here is less than or equal to. Okay, So I'll just change the word greater than to less than. All right, less than or equal to. So those are called operators. So let's try another example of an operator here. If I did this, equals 1 plus 2 divided by 3. So I'm doing a formula here at the beginning, and I'm going to say, is that greater than 10? All right, so what the system does then is it goes through the figuring out of the 1 plus 2 first, because that's the brackets. So that's 3 divided by 3 means that this side of the operator is 1, and then it has to resolve it. So is 1 greater than 10? And we would say, no, it's false. How about this one? If I go equals, actually let's just go back and use this one again. All right, if that one, is this not equal to 10 plus 2 divided by 6? All right, so it resolves both sides of the operators. So 3, again, divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 6 equals 2. So the question is it true that 1 is not equal to 2? And the answer is true. All right. So that's how operators work in terms of responding with a true or false in the Excel world. You can also use text. And so if I was to go over here and I was to type the word hi, like that, that's a piece of text, and I was to go equals D14, meaning and so in this checking out here in a true false world, is D14 equal to hi? All right, notice I put down apostrophes around it. So what I'm saying down here is the one above equal hi, is D4 equal to hi? And I press return and it should come back as true. Okay, so you can point to cells that have text in them to resolve if the text says something true or false. Okay. The other thing that's interesting about this true stuff here is that you can have an opposite. I can go equals not, and then I can look at the logical, and what do you think that the response is going to be there? So it really, when you use the word not, it does the opposite of what it's looking at. So is it not true? Then that has to be equal to false. And then if I went equal not what is sitting in this cell, and then backwards, it would come back not false, has to be true. All right, so that's another way of using the logicals. You can do opposites. How about if I did this? If I went hi, and I went there, in these two different cells, and then I said, well, let me do this one first. I'll do this one. If I went down here, equals hi greater than there. Okay, see what I'm doing here? I've got the word hi before the operator and there after the operator. And so that can be resolved as a logical, as a true or false. And before I press enter, what do you think the answer is going to be? Is it going to be true or is it going to be false? Is hi greater than there? Think about it. There we go. You ready? False. And so the question is why? Well, what happens in this world is that the first letter of the text is compared to the first letter of the T. And in that world, H does not come before T in the alphabet. So therefore, that's how it's resolved. And there's no other way of knowing that other than just memorizing it. If I was to make this a minus or a less than sign, then H comes before T. If I press enter, it says it's true. Okay? So that's an interesting part of how operators can be used with text. The other thing you can do here with text is I can compare them remotely in terms of the cell. So I can go equals hi, is that less than there? Okay, so no need for quotations around these because you're pointing at them. True. Okay, is I can also do the other way as we just did before. Is that greater than? False. Okay, so these kinds of pointing at pieces of text and then comparing it can also be done. Alright, so with that in mind, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the worksheet here, and we're going to look at these rules down here. And we're going to put the rules 1, 2, and 3 across the top, and then we're going to put true or false along these cells here to determine whether they meet the rules or not. Okay, so I'm going to look at the final spreadsheet. There it is there. That's what we're going to aim for. Rule 1, in this particular case, this company here, it's true that they meet the rule 1, it's false that they meet rule 2, etc. Alright, and you'll see that we have formulas up there that try and figure out if this is the case. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to stop the video and move on to the next video, which builds up on this true false area here. Alright, so ending the video now, and I'll see you in a bit.